I'm keeping tradition.
That's right.
Okay. I now call the regular meeting of Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District Board of Trustees to order on November the 11th, 2024 at 6:01 p.m. Mr. Campisi, was the meeting properly posted?
Madam President, the meeting was properly posted.
And do we have a quorum? My goodness.
Do have a quorum.
Great. We have a full house. How about that?
Have a full house.
Yes. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone for being here, all of our board members. Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Noemi, thank you for all of your work, Ms. Garcia, and we appreciate you. To all the executive team, thank you for all the hard work you do every board meeting, get us ready for this night. And today is Veterans Day. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little later in the program. But anyway, we do appreciate all of our veterans and your service to our nation and our communities. It's, I found out today that Texas has the largest veteran population in the United States. Not just, we are the largest population. So keep that in mind. I always like the history of it. So as we now move toward, Dr. O'Brien, to the opening ceremonies, I would like you to start with your staff, I think.
All right, Ms. Thomas, you can go ahead and get us started.
All right, President Barattin, school board members, Dr. O'Brien, the opening exercises for the November 11th, 2024 board meeting will be presented by students from Dr. Johnny T. Clark Elementary. We will begin the opening ceremonies with a prayer led by Tiffany Guy. Everyone, please rise.
Lord, I want to thank you for all of the brave men and women who've served in our military branches. I also want to thank you for blessing us so abundantly, and thank you for getting everyone here safely tonight. Please guide us in decision making so we're making decisions in the best interest of our students and community. May we all do... I'm sorry. I ask this in your son's name. Amen.
Amen.
I don't know what I had.
This evening, our pledges will be led by Clark Elementary students Elena Sellards and Zoe Zurevich.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, and you may be seated. At this time, please welcome Kendall David, Director of Community Engagement, to the podium. Good evening, President Barattin, Dr. O'Brien, and our Board of Trustees. Tonight, we gather to recognize a very special group within our community, our staff members who are also veterans. These individuals have not only dedicated themselves to the noble work of educating and supporting our students, but have also served our country with honor, courage, and selflessness. We are truly grateful for their commitment both in and out of the classroom. Our veterans bring invaluable experience and perspective to our schools. They serve as role models of resilience, discipline, and integrity, qualities we hope to instill in every one of our students. Their service to our nation and their ongoing commitment to our schools represent the very essence of leadership. So let's take a moment to thank these remarkable staff members for all they have done and continue to do. We are honored to have them as part of our school community. Let's give them a round of applause. So tonight, we have a few special veterans who have chosen to spend their Veterans Day evening with us. So please, veteran staff members, when your name is called, come to the front. First up, we have Margaret Caton from Cedar Bayou Junior School, Navy for 11 years. We have Brian Walenta, Robert E. Lee High School, Texas State Guard for 7 years. Clyde Petrie from Gentry Junior School, Army for 7 years. Dr. Tricia Times, our Director of Safe and Secure Schools, Air Force for 23 years. Bryson Joe from Stewart Career Tech High School and the Advanced Automotive Academy, Navy, for 4 years. And last but certainly not least, we have one of our very own board members, Mercedes Renteria, enlisted for 4 years in the Army and 5 years in the Army Reserves.
Who is that young man?
Are there any additional members of our audience who have served our country? And if so, will you please rise? Thank you for your service. Your sacrifices have not gone unnoticed, and your impact is felt daily in our schools. Thank you very much, and happy Veterans Day. Please stick around for a special tribute from our Clark Elementary students. One last round of applause.
All right, thank you, Kendall. Clark students, y'all can go ahead and come on up. The following students from Clark Elementary are here to perform for us tonight. Marilyn Flores, Nora Llewellyn, Aaron Harlow, Joseph Hollis, Ezra Salazar, Keegan Watley, Casey Jenkins, Elijah Trunkel, Samantha Duran, Xander Aguilar, Mia Rivera, Luke Flores, J.C. Jenkins, Kobe Davis, Elena Sellards, Hunter Adams, Zoe Zurovec, and Cash Harville. These students are under the direction of music teacher Mr. Kevin Lewis, Principal Mrs. Kim Scheidt, and Assistant Principal Mrs. Nancy Tejeda. They will perform the military medley and God Bless the USA. We invite our veterans to stand as the anthem of their military branch is played in recognition of their service.
While we're getting ready, parents, if you're here, would you stand up and let us recognize you for supporting your child here tonight?
Thank you for helping us honor our veterans. You did a great job. Clark, can we give him one more round of applause? Once again, we want to thank our veterans for their service to our country, and we appreciate your attendance tonight. This concludes the recognitions and acknowledgments portion of our board meeting. At this time, I will turn the board meeting back over to President Barat-Timms.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Again, thank you. Boy, that was such a befitting song for tonight, and we really appreciate in serving our veterans. And thank you, students, they're gone. And parents, thank you. They got out of here fast, but did a wonderful job. Let's say that. Okay, as we move now to our next, number 4 on our agenda, Dr. O'Brien, is a public hearing. I'm going to turn it over to you for details on that and bring your staff up that's going to make the presentation.
Thank you. We have our Director of Title Funds, Ms. Ginger McKay, who will be presenting tonight on the public reporting requirements for Accelerated Instruction Program. Good evening.
Good evening, President Timms, Dr. O'Brien, and the other board members. This is our yearly reporting that we have to do for our state comp ed for the accelerated instruction. Basically, most of the information is similar that we present each year. So let me begin.
In essence, this is an annual report that requires us to show that we've spent the money on the things that we received the money for, right?
Yes. Okay, here we go. So I'm not going to read word for word because this is the same information you'll find in the Texas Education Code. But basically, this is the information that says we are to make sure that we appropriate funds for our accelerated instruction program. So we're supposed to plan and implement instructions that are to help our students satisfy the state and local graduation requirements. Sometimes it's more than just tutoring. It's also social and emotional wellness. So there's a number of different things, and that's why all the information is provided. So we're to also evaluate the effectiveness of this program and annually conduct a public reporting time so that we can provide the information about the expenditures and then how we have looked at our evaluation and making sure that we're reducing any disparity in performance on assessment instruments for our high school students to be able to complete and graduate from high school. The district has a supplemental funding piece under the state comp ed. Our district and campuses develop accelerated instruction program plans prior to any other things that we do so that we set that money aside so that we don't not have it when we need it. So we're to do that before we do any other budgeting in state comp ed. Our district and campus accelerated program reporting expenses are. So one of the first ones is we have our teachers and our educational support positions, such as intervention. And these totaled, last year we spent approximately $6 million. The year before we spent about $6 million. So there wasn't much differentiation between the two. We also have the student wellness component. We have student wellness interventionist, and we spent in that category at $1.1 million last year, which is similar to what we spent the year before, which means we had all of our positions in place, and most of them were stable. We have Peter E. Highland, which is considered all state comp ed for an alternative school. We spent 1.9 last year and 2.1. Depending on the student needs and how many students we have, there depends on how much money we spend. So we didn't take money away. We just probably didn't have as many staff because they weren't needed at that site. Point alternative, it's the disciplinary part of the alternative program. We spent about 1.5 both years, not much difference. Our supplemental funding provided for our before school, after school, any type of Saturday tutorials, which includes campus, staff payroll, materials, supplies, any software, transportation. Last year we spent about $1 million. In the prior year we spent $439. And the reason for that is because in the prior year we had some ESSER money. So therefore we're up to where we need to be with spending it out of our regular state program. In our elementary and our junior high schools, we moved their summer school money to be able to help them during the school year. So therefore, you're going to see a little bit of a fluctuation as well when we get to the summer school part, because we wanted to do early intervention and not wait until the summer months to be able to get them their support, because the money really shifted when we moved away from ESSER. The other things we have are just some additional supports for academic behavior in other areas that schools might need, like training, other software that's kind of specific to them. We spend about $1 million last year. We spent about 1.1 the year before. And our social services, which is a lot like our communities and schools and other staff, we spent $550 last year. The year before we spent about $652. Now, in addition to that, our elementary schools have Title I money that brings in our Harris County Department of CISD workers. So that's an additional $420. So we really spend almost $1 million to make sure that all of our campuses have at least some general support for social services and getting parents and students the help they need. In summer school, we spent $874,000 on high school last year. What I would tell you is transportation is a huge piece of where we spend summer school money, and we really try to look really closely at that. I'll give you an example. We spent $475,000 on elementary, junior high, and high school summer school for 16 days in the 23 summer. Last year, we spent $265 for 16. You're like, okay. So we're really going to look real close at transportation because it seems to be one of the biggest pieces we're having to pay for summer school. Because if we're using it for an indirect service, it's not helping directly with our kids who need help. So we're kind of doing some checking to see how are we looking at mileage, how are we estimating this cost, because that's part of the reason why even during the regular school year, it costs quite a bit of money for us to transport students. And so we're trying to find the best way to help kids instead of it being all the indirect costs that we have. So we also have to look at our at-risk numbers to see how we're doing. So I gave that to you in your presentation as well, and I gave you the enrollment numbers for 23 school year and 24, so you can see where we've changed a little bit, where we've gone up or down, because this is important with what we're doing with intervention. If we want to make sure that we're doing well with intervention strategies, we have to indicate that our at-risk numbers seem to be getting decreasing, so we're showing improvement. And so you'll have elementaries and the secondaries as well. And when you look at the STAR data, so I provided that for both years, 23 and 24. There's a lot of work we still have to do. When I looked over the numbers, I was looking for all the places where it looked like we had better performance, and I could see that we had some that they're still struggling. And so we look very heavily at our evaluation that we did at the end of the year. So our campuses in the district, we try to look at how is it going with these particular programs, what do we need to do to make them better. And so with that impact of the evaluation, we put that into our district improvement plan and our campuses that we really do need to refine how we're aligning our district specialist. Instead of having them maybe all on one particular area, we need to make sure we've spread them out. Like if this math person's here, can a special ed be over there? So you don't have them all bunched and not evenly distributed. So we're trying to do it. That's not an easy task because there's lots of needs. We're also making sure that the intervention that we're doing, as well as any materials that we're purchasing, are looked at very closely so that we don't spend on something we don't need. It's not effective. What are we doing to change that? We're also looking at more directly with some of the pieces that we have on intervention as far as like who's doing, what do some of our tutors need, what type of tutoring is out there. So we've kind of looked at a new program called Ignite. I hate to throw a name out there, but things are changing in the world since COVID. There's a lot of online things. There's a lot of direct instruction. And at first, I wasn't familiar with this program, but now that I have with elementary, they actually have certified teachers having instructional, like specific for the kiddos, to be able to have direct contact with someone. It's not just a program. It's a real live person. So we're going to see how that works, especially with 3 of our schools that are the comprehensive, and see where we go with that. And so I'll be honest with you, I thought, well, that's where our teacher shortage is. They're all going to work for these companies. So how can we draw them back? Because they're doing a great job. So now it's time for any questions or comments, if there's any.
I think an important point that you brought out was that in years past, and we still do this, we hire retired teachers to come and assist with tutoring, and now we're looking at other venues as well to plant that, such as online programs and things of that nature. This is a public hearing, so we'll open up the floor to anyone in the audience who has a comment about our Title I fundings and our expenditures on the tutorial programs across the district. Board members? Great presentation, very
Thanks.
thorough, very specific. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're to number 5 on our agenda, and that's citizens' participation. Citizen participation is the time during which the board will hear public concerns or public comments from those who have properly signed up to address the board. At regular board meetings, the board will allow public comments regardless of whether the item is a topic on the agenda posted. With notice of this meeting, each speaker is reminded that he or she is limited to his or her presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes, which can be further reduced or limited by the presiding officer. Please also remember you should respect confidentiality concerns and refrain from attacking the personal character of any individual, staff, student, board member in addressing concerns or comments. Pursuant to the state law and board policy be legal, the board cannot consider or take action on concerns at this meeting unless they pertain to an item on the posted agenda for this meeting. Any deliberation or discussion on an item that is not posted for consideration at this meeting shall be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda for a future board meeting. We will now, Mr. Campisi will do the time, and I will call our first guest up. Tonight, our guest speaker is Ms. Katrina Lanier, will be our first speaker this evening. Yes, come to the podium right there. Thank you. And
Ms. Jackson, could you ensure the microphone's on?
thank you. Your time, Ms. Campisi, would you let her know?
Your time will begin once you start speaking. You'll have 3 minutes. I'll motion when it's 1 minute remaining. Please go ahead.
Okay. You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Katrina Lanier. I'm here representing I9 Sports. I'm also the wife of Otis Lanier, who will be speaking shortly. I grew up here in the Baytown community. My family is also from here. I graduated from school here as well as my parents did as well. We brought I9 Sports here, which is a multi-sports program, back in 2022 that we currently have been running our league at EF Green, which we run 21 consecutive days out of the school year, which is a multi-sports program, if y'all are not sure, for our youth kids from ages 3 to 14 years old. We do hire our staff as Goose Creek students here who are residing in the district, which currently are our coaches, our refs, also our staff coordinators as well, who help run this organization. We also do help sponsor families for multiple reasons. We have a large number of members who are a part of our organization that we sponsor to play with us for each season that we're here. I'm here today just briefly so if you'd be able to review some of the things that we bring forward that we want to discuss, that we just want the opportunity to be able to continue to hold our league here at EF Green throughout the 2025 school year. And that's what I have. On time?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, Ms. Lanier. Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Otis Lanier. He will be our second speaker. Would you come to the microphone there? And Mr. Campisi will give you the information and instructions how to proceed. Thank you.
Yes, Madam President. Again, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. The timer will start when you begin talking. I'll let you know when you have 1 minute remaining.
Okay, thank you. She did a better job than I was because I'm nervous.
Don't be.
It's been a while since I had to speak in front of people since college, so bear with me. As she did state, we are a youth sports organization, a franchise that we purchased ourselves and brought here to Baytown. I'm a former coach and former SPED teacher, life skills, and this is my passion. We knew coming into this that we wasn't gonna, benefit a lot of revenue or money because we actually purchased this I9 franchise to bring here. So I'm just basically here just asking that we're able to at least finish our calendar year. We do understand that there were some issues and some things that came up, and we thought we made well on those issues moving forward. Knew we had to revisit a later date to discuss some things, and we did on some of the invoices that did come about from an audit. We was unaware of it since we started in 2022. all of our invoices that we received, we paid them. And I do understand that things happen and things may have gotten missed and things that we might have not received, and it was brought to our attention recently. And we just wasn't given a decent amount of time to resolve those issues, even though we did give $15,432.75 in order for us to move forward. So just this Thursday, we just found out that was terminated. So we're just asking that we can at least finish out the calendar year, at least for these kids. We have right at about 400 kids, and so they can have a place to play and at least finish this year. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Lanier, for your time. Okay. We will now move to the next item on our agenda, and it is approval of minutes. The minutes from our last meeting was provided to each of our board members, and at this time, we'll be looking at the board minutes from, first one is 6A, September 30th, 2024 regular board meeting. Do we have any comments or concerns or corrections to the minutes at this time? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I'd move to approve.
And I'll second.
Okay. It's been motioned by Mr. Clem and second by Ms. Guy. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, raise your hand. 2, 3, 4. I wasn't here. I was sick.
No. Yeah.
I was sick.
I think me, Mr. Campese, Mr. Clem, and Mr. Sampson.
Correct.
And Mr. Sampson were here. That was your four. You were here, Howard. I wasn't. I was sick. I was in the hospital.
You were here.
Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Any against? Abstain? 3. Okay, you have that, Noemi? Motion carries. Okay, now we move to the next item on here is our 6B, our October the 21st special board meeting. The minutes from that was provided to each of our board members. All right, do you have any corrections or concerns or anything you would like to add at this time? Okay. I would like the chair would entertain a motion on this item.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Campese and second by Mr. Renteria. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? I was here. Okay. Unopposed? Abstention? One. Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Okay, we move to the next item on the agenda, discussion items. On 7A, Superintendent's report. I'm turning it back over to you,
Yes.
Dr. O'Brien.
Thank you, Madam President. We have, for the superintendent's report this evening, Ms. Kendall David coming forward to present on advanced via individual determination and AVID update. I think she may be bringing her team with her. We have some rock stars coming from the campus as well as the district. Ms. David, I'll let you handle those introductions.
Yes. All right, good evening again. President Barat-Tens, Dr. O'Brien, board members. We are excited to present AVID and Goose Creek CISD and update on the benefits of AVID in our district. I have an incredibly talented team up here with me this evening. I have Kevin Robleski. He's the Associate Director of Science and High School Health, and he also works alongside me as an AVID District Director. I have Jackie Scales. She's the coordinator at Sterling High School. She's been in the district for quite some time. She served as an AVID teacher and took on the role as coordinator at Sterling, and she is an absolute rock star. And I also have Veronica Phillips, AVID coordinator at EF Green Junior School. She actually introduced me to AVID in 2014 by forcing me to be on the site team at Robert E. Lee High School. So She's absolutely incredible.
Now, Ms. David, before you
as
move
well.
on, I was told there was, I was supposed to ask about molecular mania or something as one of your presenters tonight.
All right, who said that?
Proceed, please. Please proceed.
I also want to point out I have two avid teachers in the audience, Miss Taylor Veal and Miss Gabby Martinez. They're also rock stars.
Raise your hand, please, so we can see you. Yay.
All right, what is AVID? AVID believes that quality and equitable education is the key to breaking barriers, including generational poverty. With the right support and opportunities, AVID students excel in advanced courses and are 4 times more likely to graduate from college than their national peers. School-wide, AVID helps schools shift to more equitable and student-centered approach with high engagement strategies.
All right, so college and career readiness, our framework for AVID, it is the lens in which we are able to fulfill the mission of the AVID program. As you have a look at the visual representation, it shows the instruction systems, culture, and leadership, which are our school-wide domains for AVID, and it informs us of what students need and what educators need to do. At the core of what we do is relational capacity, and so in using all of those elements together, we create a learning ecosystem for our students. AVID's mission is to close the opportunity gap by preparing all students for college readiness and success in a global society. This is our unifying message that grounds our purpose in the work that we do in our AVID programs district-wide.
So what does AVID look like in Goose Creek? We have 5 high schools with AVID, 6 junior schools with AVID, 3 elementary schools, and since 2019, enrollment in the AVID elective class has increased by 57%. And this, if you look at 24-25, this is with us dialing back from an 8-period day to a 7-period day. So we still had gains in our AVID elective student enrollment. So the 1, 2, 3 AVID effect in Goose Creek. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left that one off. Yeah, science. Hey, earlier when I said generational, I almost said gravitational. But we are defying gravity, by the way. So that's molecular mania. All right, so 1, promotes a school-wide college readiness culture. So when you walk on the AVID campuses, you see that in the hallways, in the classrooms. 2, we provide student engagement and research-based instructional strategies through WICOR, and we'll be discussing that in the next slides coming up. 3, serve as a vehicle for teacher effectiveness and student learning. So 2 and 3 are directly related to Tier 1 instruction and all of our core curriculum areas. We embed all of these type of instructional strategies into our curriculum, into our documents, into our pacing, scope, and sequence. And lastly, 4, aligns with the district instructional framework and our strategic plan.
So when you come into our AVID classrooms, you obviously aren't going to be able to visually see these things, but within our classroom, our AVID classrooms, you're going to see first-generation college students. It's really important. Since we have gone through the college process, it has changed tremendously. And so these students don't have the family support of being able to know what they need to do and how to navigate it. So we see quite a bit of first gens. Also in our classrooms, you see historically underserved students at four-year universities. So you will see minority students in our classrooms. Low income and other at-risk factors in our classrooms. We've had students that are they are homeless. They live with grandparents. They just any extenuating circumstances that are kind of out of the norm. You can bet that we've probably had it. We look for the academic middle. So when I'm recruiting and talking to teachers at the junior highs and high schools, I tell them I'm looking for that kid that they were the last ones that you learned their names. So they're not the behavioral problems, so you didn't learn those very quick. They're not your teacher pet type of kids or those high achieving kids, but they're those kids that they behave, they do what they're supposed to. They make A's, B's, C's. They just kind of blend in. They have a lot of potential, and either it just hasn't been expressed yet, or they just haven't seen it within themselves yet. And so those are the kind of kids that we're really looking for within our AVID program. We also look for kids that have college potential with support. I can think of a particular kid in general that was a focus kid that his teacher saw that potential in him, reached out to us, and I had him as a 9th grader, got to see that throughout his high school journey. And just last week, I was sent a picture. He is flourishing at Lee College, was involved in clubs and just doing great things, but that potential was seen, and within our AVID elective, it helped support him. And then probably the most important, have the desire and determination that via individual determination is part of what AVID is, and so they really have to have that, or have that support that we are able to pull that out in them. Okay, so Wicker, we heard a little bit about that earlier. This is AVID's instructional framework. It is, in my opinion, the easiest thing for teachers to be able to embrace when we do professional developments on campus, and even within the district. The use of Wicker is just very easy for our teachers to be able to not only comprehend, but to be able to actually implement. So, of course, with education, everything is acronyms. So each letter stands for a particular part of the framework. So the W is writing for learning, and it's not just copying things down. It's actually writing to learn. So things like quick writes and focus notes, anything where they're having to think about what they're actually putting on paper or typing. The I is inquiry, so that deep level questioning. So AVID does a great job. Again, everything with AVID, I think, is simplified to where teachers and other educators can really understand it. They have what's called Costa's level of questioning, so it's just 3 steps versus Bloom's, that's 6 or 7. So it's easier for educators to be able to implement the higher level questioning within the classrooms and be able to do Socratic seminars and things like that. The C for collaboration, we know that that is a must in our society working in any career. And so being able to make sure that students are able to have the opportunity to work together for a common goal. Organization, it can be very literal. So in our classrooms, we definitely focus on things like planners and binders and backpacks being clean, but it's also within the curriculum. So looking at things like graphic organizers and being able to organize your notes and organize your learning in a way that you are actually able to understand and to be able to keep that information. And then the R is reading to learn. And so it's more than just skimming, it's teaching them different reading techniques to be able to comprehend what they're learning. So I guess the best thing that I can say about Wicker is that when I was a core teacher, I had it literally on my back wall. And so if you've taught in the classroom, you know that many times lessons do not go as they are planned. And so if a lesson wasn't working for me, I literally would look back on my wall and see if there was any piece of Wicker that I was missing. And that's what we tell our teachers too. Like, if your lesson isn't going as planned, is there a piece that you're missing that maybe you could quickly implement? And more times than not, it's just some little simple tweak that you could add from Wicker, that whole framework that can turn your lesson around. And so that's something that we really stress with our teachers.
Thank you, Jackie. Okay, so let's just take a very, very quick glimpse of some student success. This doesn't even touch, we could have 50 slides on student success. So we're only going to have one today. I don't want a trophy. So, yeah. So student success, just a couple of things that have happened over the past year. Crockett is in year 2 of implementation. And they were so ahead of the game, they were asked to host a showcase. And so we had principals, AVID coordinators, district administration come and view AVID at the elementary at Crockett, and they did an incredible job. Stewart Career Tech High School, they do PEP talks. PEP stands for Prepare, Empower, and Propel. But all of their students track their grades, their absences, their missing assignments, their tardies, and that is something that's reviewed. They set goals, and this is something that they do weekly, and that's from the AVID classroom. They do that school-wide. Asheville Smith, they adopted school-wide organization. So the need at Asheville was that parents wanted to know exactly what their kids were doing, and so they have graphic organizers, and as you can see, a lot of hands-on learning with organizing their thoughts. One thing about AVID is a big component is community service. And so anytime there's an event, likely you will see lots of AVID kids running around supporting and helping. So college and career night, we had AVID students setting up, supporting, and also taking, advantage of that opportunity. But on campus, they are expected to serve as leaders and to serve the community. Jackie, you want to tell us a little bit about the on-campus field trip?
Sure. A couple of weeks ago, well, I guess it was more than a couple of weeks ago, on our half day that we had in October, we decided, in AVID, we never waste time. So when I saw that it was a half day, my campus team, we started brainstorming some things that we could do to be useful for our students on that half day. And so a small idea kind of ballooned into a big on-campus field trip. So we had 5 colleges that came in, University of Houston main campus, University of Houston Clear Lake, UT San Antonio, Lamar, and University of St. Thomas came in. And they were set up in classrooms, and students could go to a rotation with them. Students did 3 rotations. It's kind of like Giant Con that we have in the summer. So they all could hear and get information from a college. Then we had some other things that were grade level specific. We had Lee College come in and talk to our juniors about their writing lab for getting ready for their college essays. We had United Way come in to talk to our students about community service opportunities and how to find those in our Baytown area. And then the part that I'm most proud of is we had about 15 former Goose Creek AVID alumni come in, and we just spread them out in the cafeteria, and we told our AVID kids, go find out the truth. And I told our alumni, I said, don't tell them what you think I want to know. Tell them the truth with any questions that they have. And some of those kids, I call them kids because once they're mine, they're always mine. But some of those kids took off work because they thought it was so important to come back. And, I find we're literally growing giants. If we want to go with the theme, those kids were grown through our schools, in part through our AVID elective, and felt the need to come back for our current students and give them advice and try to lead them. So very proud of that, and the kids are still talking about it. They'll say, that girl that goes to the University of Houston, like, she said this, like, are we going to do that? So they were listening. So it was a very great day.
Well, Ms. Scales, I'm glad to hear it wasn't a part of our budget reduction plan. It just happened to be coincidence that you had a half day to utilize that. And you've heard that some of our elementaries are bringing the field trip to the classroom instead of taking the kids off of the campus and going out. So great concept, great idea. I love that you maximized it as well. Ms. Phillips, I see there you teach fashion. I love that you made my grades go pop. You are the reason for my good grades. Thank you.
Sure. So I actually shared this little note with our PLC group, with our AVID coordinators. It almost kind of had me in tears a little bit because after teaching about 20 years, you've received a lot of notes. But this one was really important because the kid talked specifically about how he improved academically. And so if you kind of read it, you can see that he misspelled some words. So the subject was English, and he was making a 62. And you can kind of see we still have to work there with some spelling. But he basically said, thank you for your support. And tutor, you made my grades change so drastically that my teachers thought I was cheating. I love that you made my grades pop. You are the reason of my good grades from 60% to 100% in ELA. So we are super proud about the work that we're doing. That little note just kind of reinforces what we're doing on our campus to help our students grow academically.
Okay, so what are just a few details around AVID and Goose Creek? We are proud to say that we have a national demonstration school. They revalidated last year, so they will be designated as a demonstration school. A demonstration school is a campus that serves as a model for AVID implementation school-wide, not just in the elective classroom, but school-wide. And so you are willing to open your doors to other districts for them to come in and look at how you're implementing AVID. We're very excited to say that EF Green is entering the National Demonstration School coaching cycle. We'll be there tomorrow for about 4 hours. And then in addition to that, Impact is also engaging in the demonstration school cycle. Impact is a school-wide site of distinction, so that is the highest rating that a school can achieve on the AVID's coaching and certification instruments. So they've had that designation for 2 years now, and we're very proud of that as well. So let's talk about just the giant impact for our graduates. So currently, right now, 54% of our AVID students are currently taking a dual credit or AP class. And that's important to note, like Ms. Scales said, these are students in the academic middle. These are students that typically are taking regular classes, but because of the support with AVID, they're taking those higher level courses. The AVID class of 2024, so we graduated 154 AVID seniors. An AVID senior is a student who has been in AVID for all 4 years of high school. Of that class of 2024 of AVID kids, they earned 458 university acceptance letters. That is 166 more than the class of 2023, and we were proud of the class of 2023. 100% of those students applied to college, and the class of 2024 earned about $20 million in scholarships. AVID students, which make up of only 9% of that graduating class, they earned $7.1 million, and that is 35% of all scholarships earned. So that's, for us, that's saying, that's a huge stat to know that AVID students absolutely have an upper hand. And this is 2 million more than the class of 2023. So we're very, very proud of those numbers. Another thing just to point out is that each year we attend Summer Institute. Any educator who's attended AVID Summer Institute will tell you it's some of the best PD you will ever receive. Ms. Guy, have you attended? Okay, so you're smiling, you're nodding, you know. We send about 100 staff members. All of our AVID campuses send about a team of 6, and of course we want an administrator there, a decision maker there. AVID Summer Institute has content-based collaborative sessions. So you go, and if you're a science teacher, you're sending in AVID for science. But we also come together, and as a district, we run site team sessions and goal setting, and we really set the tone for AVID going into the upcoming school year. We're also really proud that we have district representation as AVID national staff developers. Myself, Kim Fox, and Veronica Phillips all serve as national staff developers. It's a very strenuous process to serve in that role, and we have quite a few others that are looking to apply to be national staff developers. Okay, that concludes everything that we have at this time. If you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
Your slide alluded to Crockett and Ashbel Smith. Who's the third elementary doing it right now? Carver. And what are our Goose Creek plans to expand that?
We're currently, the original plan was to do a 3-year pilot, so we're in year 3, and so that's definitely a conversation. I have principals consistently asking me, when are we going to add an AVID school? But what I will also tell you is that, like Ms. Scales mentioned, AVID is really great teaching, and so we're doing everything we can in the meantime to make sure that everyone has access to those strategies. It's embedded in the instructional framework. Like Mr. Robleski said, it's embedded into the curriculum. So we're working to make sure that everyone has access to WICOR and those high yield strategies. But yes, in a perfect world, we would expand AVID over every campus.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Absolutely.
What keeps it from expanding? Is it finance?
Funding definitely is a consideration, but I will tell you too, it's a lot of work to start. So Veronica started EF Green from the ground up, and she can attest that it's hard work, it's a lot of work. And so it's just a matter of, ensuring that we have dedicated staff members who want to take on that challenge, and that we can roll it out, with fidelity.
Thank you.
Who invited the colleges?
Ms. Scales?
For our Sterling field trip?
For this program that they came and met. Was it UTSA, U of H? And who invited those?
We did, our AVID team at Sterling.
We need more. I like that. They were able to.
And the feedback that we received is, like, Lamar's already coming back. They're coming back next week to talk to our seniors, like specifically talking to that group of AVID seniors, because it works. So it's on its way.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you,
it was a learning.
I'll tell you, Mr. Renteria, we, at every PLC, district PLC, we meet as a team. So me, Kevin, and Kim plan to share best practices and do a lot of that work. And I can tell you, when Jackie shared this model, we had a lot of coordinators nodding, because we do take a lot of field trips to colleges, especially those that are in the Houston area. But the concept of bringing alumni back, the concept of bringing multiple schools to us, to our students, we will definitely be adopting that model across our campuses.
I've seen so many parents post their kids' pictures at different colleges throughout the nation. And I can't believe some of the places they go to, New York, all over the United States.
If you want to pick me up, follow all of our high school and the junior highs that have an AVID page. Follow Baytown Sterling AVID, Robert E. Lee AVID. You will see college acceptances pretty much every day.
Had one today.
Some kids are on there so much, I'm like, does this kid have an issue with figuring out where he wants to go? Because they have so many acceptances. So
I love seeing all those that they post like that, more than I like seeing Randy's stuff that he posts. Yeah, it's really nice.
Definitely.
Really nice.
And with that, I think you answered it very well, Ms. Barat-Tim's question. AVID is a strategy that can go across all Tier 1 instruction, all core classes, but it's also an elective class. So the additional cost would come with the number of elective classes being offered to a campus. But ideally, it's implemented throughout every single. It reminds me a little bit about the Apple Distinguished program, where a national model, with the state model, you're at 1% of the teachers teaching with the iPad and with that implementation. Similarly with AVID, how many of the teachers on the staff, you use the example of impact going 100%, every single teacher. They'll reach that national model because every single teacher on the campus being a smaller campus, 18 teachers, they're going to have that confirmation. With a campus like GCM with 160 teachers, it's about getting as many as possible on board with that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I had another thought. It being Veterans Day, have y'all reached out to any military campuses at all to, for any participation there? Because I do see a lot of people that go to military schools also, I know personally as a parent, I'd love to see my son or daughter become an officer before a regular soldier, so just some food for thought.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We did have, Friday was National First Gen Celebration Day. So we did have
I want to say we've had some West Point. Have we had West Point?
I haven't.
I didn't know. It seems like we have.
I'd have to look, yeah.
But we're having those conversations. I had a retired teacher from the district WebEx in Friday to our students, and his route to college was through the military. And so he was able to talk to them, although it was quite a few years ago. That part's still the same. The military can be a vessel for getting and paying for your education. So
I'll be at West Point in a week or so to watch UTSA play against West Point. So,
wow,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Well, speaking of Army, your branch, Army War College, is in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I've heard them speak. So I'm sure they may be worth reaching out to get them involved.
Absolutely.
With Ms. Dubose? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great job, y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Abbott, for this wonderful program. I really appreciate it. Good job. Okay. Thank you, guys. And Dr. O'Brien, we're going to move to the action items.
All right, we have for the board's consideration this evening on action item 8A, consent agenda. Before I go through the reading of the consent agenda, I did want to thank Mr. Campisi. He brought to my attention that we, not necessarily an error in one of the items, but an oversight. Texas Association of School Boards is who we employ to update our board policy to keep it fresh and align with state law. And in one particular case, we got a little bit ahead of TASB. We employ both police officers to be armed, and we employ security officers to be armed. And TASB was unaware of that and excluded that from that bullet on item 8A9. And I would like to administratively, thank you, Mr. Campisi, for bringing that to our attention, to make that recommendation to have it align with our actual practices. So when we get to that, we'll need an amended as presented by administration. Action items 8A, 1, donation from Jindal Pipe USA. Number 2, signing bonus. Number 3, GCCISD annual comprehensive financial report, ACFR, for the year ended June 30th, 2024. Number 4, proposed low attendance waiver for Cedar Bayou Junior School on October 4th, 2024. Number 5, grant memorandum of understanding, MOU, between the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center and MD Anderson and Goose Creek CISD. Number 6, adoption of resolution regarding the extracurricular status of 4-H members in Chambers County and Harris County, and consideration of them as adjunct faculty agreement. Number 7, CW local naming facilities board policy. Number 8, DEC local compensation and benefits leaves and absences board policy. Number 9, TASB localized policy manual update 123. Number 10, first option for CSP. Number 24-004, athletic supplies, equipment, sporting goods, and related items. Number 11, first option for CSP. Number 24-005 for awards, trophies, plaques, and related items. Number 12, first extension for CSP. Number 24-002 for spirit wear, promotional, and commemorative items. Number 13, 90-day extension of the CSP number 20-004 for fine arts equipment, supplies, and related services. Number 14, conveyance of a 140-foot wide drainage easement pursuant to section 272-001 of the Texas Local Government Code, number 15, Superintendent Expenditures, and number 16, Budget Amendments. Administration brings to the board this evening consideration of consent agenda items and recommending your approval of all such items. But we'll be glad to answer any questions should you have any. We have our Director of Purchasing, Mr. Philip Hill, here this evening, who may be able to answer any of the questions.
Okay, it's my turn to say something. Are there any items that any of the board members would like to pull for discussion or separation of consideration? Are you gonna? Okay. No? Okay. Okay.
Not this time.
Can't, such a surprise.
Where is the?
I'm sitting here on pins and needles trying to figure out that. Okay. Oh, yes.
Where is the 8A14 located?
The drainage, it's in our 8A14. Let me
Mr. Benoit is here to talk specifically to that property. It's a property acquired, 4 or 5 years ago for future development. Mr. Benoit?
Thank you.
So this easement is, the school district owns 16 acres in the South Winds subdivision. We subsequently bought 60 acres north of that. So this is in Chambers County, just south of Needle Point Road.
Okay.
This easement is on the west side of that property.
And the adjoining partner to that property is developing it.
Okay.
That would be the county of Chambers. And through that development of, I believe, a park.
Yeah, soccer fields.
Soccer fields and things, they need drainage, and it will be an easement through our property.
Oh, okay. So, but they paying for it, right?
They are paying for all of the construction. It will also allow drainage from our 60 acres as well.
Okay. For future need.
Yes.
Sounds like a win-win.
Yeah.
No money coming out of our pocket, which is a critical thing.
And it's 140 feet wide?
140 feet wide, yes, sir.
Okay. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Benoit. Appreciate you, sir.
Okay. Do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda, excluding the item of 8A9?
Are we taking 8A9 separately?
Yes, if we would, if you don't mind. Okay.
Then I would move to approve consent agenda items 1 through 8 and 10 through 16 as presented.
I second.
Okay. We have a motion by Mr. Clem, second by Mr. Martinez. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. None opposed?
All right. And then administration would recommend, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was giving her the number, but
yes.
Okay.
Administration would recommend number 9 with the edit as aforementioned to CKE, and to make sure that it is inclusive, that officers within the district that are both contracted and or that are employed officers may hold firearms as recommended.
Okay.
So moved.
Any discussion?
I would just add that CKE local is a specific policy.
Okay, thank you. You have that, Noemi?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, all in favor? I'm sorry, any discussion? Sorry, I missed that. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. All 4, all pass. Thank you. All right. Okay, now we move to, do we do any future board on the future, 8B, yeah, future board agenda items, board training meetings, future board items, board training and meetings. Anyone have anything they want to add?
Is this ad or discussion? Because don't we have a meeting on December the 3rd? Or is that?
Our next board meeting?
No, a training.
Let me see. When is it?
Yeah,
Team
the
of
Team
8
of 8
training.
training is upcoming.
Has that date been finalized?
December 3rd.
Yeah, please put that on your calendars, please.
The only question I think was, how early is too early? Is 6 o'clock adequate? Any earlier or later need for the board member?
I'm good.
Okay.
Okay.
We can go earlier if you want.
Okay.
I do have a question. I know that several times it's been brought up to have a presentation of like any academic things going on, like as far as like if there have been any CBAs or benchmarks or anything, just so we kind of have a heads up on where everything kind of stands. Just
great.
Oh, okay.
For our next board meeting, you have
December regular meeting?
December regular? Great, thank you. Anything else, guys, that we've discussed that we want on the agenda? They're all here. Get them now. We're going to give you a break, Dr. Bollinger. And Bridget. Okay, you guys, we're going to, the board will now recess into closed session pursuant to one or more of the following sections of the Texas Governmental Code of Section 551.071, 072, 073, 074, 075, 076, 082, 083, 084, and 087. No action will be taken while the board is in closed session. The time is now 7:14.
December 3rd? Christmas Eve. 30. 1, 2, 3.
Well, let me go back.
I turned my hearing aids up. They're working.
Maybe I need to get some.
I will hook you up. Oh, my goodness.
December 3rd. Sound like they said the 30th.
Okay. Do we have our presenter?
Mr. Campese is just a really good secretary.
Okay, so baby, good.
I just wanted us to have
I'm training you on my Robert's Rules of Order. How about that?
Awesome.
Oh, dear God.
December the 3rd. Got it. Okay, comprehensive. Yeah. Know me.
Calling all board members, calling all board members.
You said you wanted me to sign something? You wanted me to sign something?
Yes.
Okay, the board will now reconvene in the open session. The time is now 8:54. No action was taken while the board was in closed session. Dr. O'Brien, I'm going to ask you to make the presentation on the consideration of personnel.
Yes, ma'am. This evening, administration would present to the board for consideration and potential approval 8 elections subject to assignment on the teacher hiring scale, as well as the resignations and retirements as listed.
I'll move to approve. Okay.
Second.
Okay, moved by Ms. Guy and second by Mr. Clem. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? 1, 2. All was in favor? No? You are, okay. Motion carried.
All right, that brings us to just a few administrative positions. We have a speech language pathologist assistant, Viviana Castillo.
So move to hire her.
I'll second.
Okay.
Hire her.
Yeah.
Motion moved and second. No discussion. How many in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All in favor?
Next administrative position is Kendrika Moore as an assistant principal at Gentry Junior School.
So move to hire her.
And I'll second.
All right.
Or promote her, whatever it is.
Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. All in favor? Motion carried.
And the final administrative position we're asking for approval this evening is Assistant Chief of Police, Matt Bollinger. No, I'm sorry.
Darren, how many hats you want him to wear?
Excuse me. Patrick O.
Now, I'm gonna
Arnett.
speak up. Sorry.
So move to hire Patrick O. Arnett as the Assistant Chief of Police.
Thank you, Mr. Renteria. And second by Ms. Guy. Okay. No discussion? Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Okay. Motion carries.
I was just looking at Dr. Bollinger, seeing if he was giving it any thought at all.
You want me to read his mind for you? I'm real good at reading
today,
mine.
okay.
I can tell
That's
by
all we
all
have.
of this. Okay. There being no further business before this board, this meeting is adjourned at 8:57. Wow, 2
Right on
minutes.
time, right on time.
Yep.
He gave y'all 2 minutes to spare.
Right?